Hello everybody, and welcome to another StarCraft 2 commentary. I am vilePsY StarCraft, and this is going to be a Zerg versus Zerg on Tal'Daram Altar. And you know what, maybe I should do that from now on. Pretend like I'm on ×8 speed on accident, but then it's actually going to be on purpose so I can get past the early game faster. So there's less filler time and awkward silence. Yeah, I think that would be a really good idea. Anyway, my opponent is JumpOff. He is in the top left as the blue Zerg, and I'm in the bottom right, vilePsY, as the red Zerg. And this was actually played on Sunday after I had had a few drinks. Or maybe this was like the night, maybe this was Friday or Thursday. All I know is I'm an alcoholic, so many of these games that I'm casting are under the influence. But I'm learning to play well, as many alcoholics do. Or as many alcoholics are, you're able to perform everyday tasks while under the influence almost as good or as good as you are when you're sober. And I know I shouldn't joke about that. I'm not actually an alcoholic. I don't really drink that much at all. Just when I do, I tend to play StarCraft, so a lot of you guys are like, oh my god, Zai, you're such an alcoholic. But anyway, JumpOff is going a 10 pool, which is actually really strange on this map, considering it's really hard to scout because it's so huge. And, of course, the map is so huge that 10 pool with 6 lings, it's going to take them so long to get to your opponent, and he has no idea where I'm at right now. His Overlord's not even going to get down here by the time he has to choose somewhere for his lings to go. And now I could be over here or in the bottom right, and we'll see if he guesses correctly. Here come 4 lings, here come 6 lings. Looks like he's getting 2 more lings, so it's going to be a 10 pull into an 8 ling attack, while I win a 15 hatch. Now normally a 10 pull would just completely own a 15 hatch, but he has to guess right first, and wow, he is actually guessing correctly. I'm not sure why he would choose this position to go instead of up here, which is closer. But you know, I was streaming at the time, so there is always a possibility for stream cheating. I don't like to, you know, accuse people of that, but this is just a very unusual decision, and it looks like these lings are going to be able to cancel my hatchery. Notice my spawning pool, it's not even finished yet. And is it going to be canceled? Yes, it is canceled just in time. I'm going to try to get that drone out of there. And one thing, oh, I didn't get the drone out of there. That was a mistake. Now, one thing keeping this alive as long as I could is it stalls for me to get some lings out. So if he would have went straight for my main, I'd be in a lot worse shape. But as it is, it's 17 to 13, and he is taking out 1 drone, and he's got 8 lings. I only have 4 lings, and he's actually able to catch 1.5 of them off guard as they're popping out. So this is not looking good for me. 2 more lings on the way. I'm trying to float my drones to and from the patches and get some attacks in by surrounding the lings, and it looks like I'm finally able to do that with the support of a couple lings, and his 8 Zerglings will be cleaned up, but damage has been done. It is now 12 to 18, so that just shows you the power of build orders in Zerg versus Zerg. He had the 10 pull, probably not the best 10 pull I've ever seen, you know, considering this map, but he managed his lings pretty well. He killed a lot of drones, and now as a result he's up 12 to 18. I'm feeling unsafe. I'm throwing down a spide, and I just want to drone up incredibly hard here. So JumpOff already taking an early lead. He's now getting his Zergling speed, and he's actually getting gas still. Normally you pull off gas after the Zergling speed, so maybe we'll see some banelings, maybe some early roaches, something like that, but instead it looks like we are seeing an expansion from him. And after taking that kind of damage as a Zerg player, I'm trying to catch up, and so that's why I am getting this spine crawler, and so I don't have to make anything but Zerglings, or anything but drones rather. And now it's 18 to 20, so the spine makes me feel a little bit safer in that I can just keep pumping out mass drones, and hopefully, you know, catch up in the drone game that way. But in the meantime, JumpOff does have his own expansion, so he's going to be way ahead in the larva count. And while it looks like I am about to pull ahead in the drone count with these 5 drones, I won't have enough larva to keep up, so I've got to consider throwing down an expansion sometime soon if I want to stay level with JumpOff. Looks like he is going to be going roaches. He's got the Zergling speed up. He's got the evolution chamber. I expect to see +1 attack for range sometime soon here. And the roach horn, of course, indicates that it's going to be roaches. And you know, it's kind of weird because he started out lings, he got speed, but then he's jumping straight into roaches, and it kind of makes the Zergling speed a bit useless. Yes, Zerglings are good for scouting. They're good for some kind of hit and runs in the later game, but I guess it all depends on how he follows it up. There's a +1 range. And here comes the scouting Ling, so I suppose Ling speed was worth it. That spine is going to poke him down. He saw what he needed to see for the most part, which was the expansion, but he didn't see any kind of tech. I think he might have seen that I was still on a hatchery. I'm not 100% sure. 6 roaches on the way for him, and now I'm up in harvesters, 26 to 23. And you guys got to remember, a second hatchery, a fast expansion, a second hatchery from a Zerg player does not mean they will have more drones necessarily in the early to mid game. It only means they're going to have more larvae. And this is being shown right here. It's 26 to 25. Now, he does have a lot more units, but actually, I'm able to pick up a lot of drones with just this tiny amount of lings. Wow! 31 to 22, killing one more drone. Is this one drone going to go down? No, it's not. So it's now 31 to 26, and those scouting lings were able to see a high number of roaches. If we check out the roach count, it's 20 or 6 roaches to just absolutely nothing. I have no units whatsoever, and he was getting these roaches defensively. We can see he is droning up now as well. So the harvester count now 31 to 33. He has taken the lead in the drone count, but I like my injects. I feel like my injects are going to be so pro. I do have my roach warren as well, and it looks like it's going to be a roach on roach game. And despite his 10 pool, because I was able to get in there with those links and kill about 4 or 5 drones, and because he's roaching up a bit early because he wasn't able to get that scouting information, he is falling a bit behind considering his early lead. Now I am still down by 1, but considering that we're even is pretty darn good for me. Looks like he is droning up super hard. 9 more drones and 4 more drones for me. Lair on the way, and he's running off of what? 1, 2 gas. Here comes that 3rd gas. And his lair a little bit behind mine, so that roach attack coming up, preparing my 3rd here. And you know, never have idle units. These lings should at least be attacking these rocks. Now these roaches, they don't necessarily have to go and attack these rocks because they're much slower. If I did have just a huge number of lings, his roaches would be caught off guard and they wouldn't be able to do anything. But you know, just run these lings over here and take out these rocks, man. It's the least you could do with the units you have. And of course, in a Zerg versus Zerg, you want to try to position your overlords from your base to your opponent's base. Now, I do have a lot of idle overlords. I've got 1 here. Looks like I've got a lot here. And these guys need to go up here. They need to go here. They need to go here. Always make use of your overlords in a Zerg versus Zerg. It's incredibly important. Harvester's count is still pretty darn even. Looks like he's getting +1 armor for his roaches. And, oh, here we are seeing a divergence in strategies. I'm going the Spire route, while he is probably going to stick with the roaches route, considering this armor upgrade that he's getting. Is he going to get that roach speed soon? He really needs that. And now this is a critical point in a Zerg versus Zerg. There's the roach speed. 1 player going mutas, 1 player going roaches. If you're going mutas, you have to be careful. You are going to need a lot of spines because you can almost expect that there's always going to be some kind of roach timing attack, especially once your opponent realizes you're going mutas, because that makes all these roaches useless. And he might kind of suspect that because we are seeing a hydralisk den, but I don't want to die to roaches. I'm going to throw down tons of spines. I've got 4 right now. I'm way ahead in the harvester count because I don't have to churn out a lot of roaches. I can make a lot less cost-effective mutas. So it saves me a lot of larvae. And it gives me map control, it gives me harassment capability, and it forces him into making weaker units like hydras. Now, infestors are a pretty good response to mutas, but you can't get a whole lot of them off of 2 base, especially when you've been pumping out this many roaches. So here come his roaches, and I am getting roach speed as well. I do anticipate that I will be switching into roaches after I get my muta harass in. But here they come. Are they going to get there in time? It looks like his roach speed isn't going to get done. 10 hydras on the way. He has +1/+1. 3 more spines on the way. I've only got a couple roaches and a couple links to try to stall these. But here come the mutas. And the spines and mutas combined will force him away. And I actually should have followed these roaches with the mutas, but you know, I was drunk, so give me some credit. More lings popping out, and yeah, this guy just does not appreciate that muta game. His roaches he just made so many darn roaches, and he's not going to be able to do anything with them. So that's why I've taken quite the big harvester lead. I'm up by 14. He's not really saturated here at all. He's got maybe 15 drones on minerals. And here come the mutas. Does he have any hydras? Yes, he does. He has a hydras at the front of his base. And they're actually going to pick off 1, maybe 2 mutas. I think he only got 1 muta. And I need to be careful now because hydras are so deadly. They have such high DPS. I'm going to be going for the expansion now. But again, great placement of these hydras. Oh, picking off 1 more muta. And if we check out the count, he's at 20 roaches, 16 hydras to just 3 roaches, 9 mutas, and 38 zerglings. So heavy in the zerglings, but zerglings virtually useless against Hydra Roach, especially when they've got better upgrades than the Zerglings. I don't even have a melee attack for the Zerglings. All I'm getting is upgrades for my Roaches, so while these mutas did allow me for map control, they weren't able to do a whole lot because my opponent expected him. He got some spores, he's got the Hydras up, and now, you know, despite having map control, I'm not in the greatest position. This is a huge army. I'm trying to do what damage I can with these mutas, but this army is huge. 23 Roaches, 22 Hydras against just a couple Roaches, 13 Roaches and 9 mutas, but I do have a lot of Lings. Am I going to pick off this Spore Colony? Nice transfusion there. Here comes his forces. I do have a lot of spines though, and I'm trying to rally as many Roaches as I can. Oh, he's losing so many drones. He's not keeping track. The Spore went down, and I'm just holding position with my mutas, but at the same time, he's going to be pushing in the main. And this is kind of a decision you have to make as a Zerg. Do you bring your mutas back and try to kill this, or do you go for the win? And by going for the win, I mean kill tons of Harvesters and hope this force holds. If this force holds, you win. Now, if you bring these mutas back and help right here, sure, if you defeat this army, that's good, but you won't actually do any damage, and you're still on fairly even ground. So I chose to attack with the mutas and kill a bunch of drones. It's now 33 to 56, and in comes JumpOff. Zerglings in the front trying to soak up as much damage as I can, and now I want to pull back and let the spines take a couple shots. Tons of Roaches have been rallied. It's now 17 Roaches to 26 Roaches. I am up on the Roach count, and they are almost +2, not quite, but look at this, the spines just shining here. And the Roaches are going to move into melee range of these Hydras, but the Hydras doing so much damage to these Roaches. Just watch how fast these Roaches fall, man. Still one spine poking away, but I'm rallying about 15 Roaches. And the reason I'm able to rally this many is because I'm at 56 Harvesters compared to his now 31. And finally, the Hydras are cleaned up. Hydra's a great unit against mutas, but if it's Roach Hydra against Roach, it's not that good, especially when you have half Hydras, half Roaches. You want to really get, you know, like 3/4 Roaches and like 1/4 Hydras. But I was able to take him out. Moving into these spines was just not a good move. He should have just cut his losses, tried to macro up and prevent this muta harass. But the muta harass was really the nail in the coffin. Once he lost his force, there was not much he could do when it's 31 to 56. I had my 3rd expansion up, and I had tons of money. But I hope you guys learned a little bit about the Zerg versus Zerg matchup, the whole Muta versus Roach dynamic. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. And, oh yeah.